Hi guys, and a great big warm welcome to episode 57 of the Ask Zofie podcast. When I consider that number, 57, in some ways it's like, doesn't seem like that many. Sometimes I listen to Lewis Howes podcasts and he's in like the, I don't know, thousands and something. But at the same time, that represents more than a year of me showing up every week and doing this podcast for you. And the reason I'm speaking to this is because I want to speak to the power of, firstly, getting started, and secondly, carrying on, being persistent. So many of us either A, don't start because the time's not right, conditions aren't perfect, whatever our mind is telling us, or B, we start, but then we give up. As you know, I'm here for your success. And I know that if you don't start, you're not going to succeed. And if you give up, you're not going to succeed. So I want to be someone who inspires you to your successes and to do those two things in the name of that, to start stuff, to give things a go, and to not give up. That's one of the things I am obsessed with, is never, ever, 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 ever giving up on your dreams, because trust me, believe me, I promise you, they won't give up on you, my friend. They won't give up on you. Okay, I didn't mean to go into all of that. I'm going to do a mini behind the scenes before I get talking about what I'm going to talk about. This is the final, for now, podcast where I'm going to focus on all things manifesting. So part of me is a little bit sad about that. It's silly. I'm going to talk more about manifesting in due course, of course, just not right now. And I adore speaking to this topic, as you probably can tell. You probably know why. You can probably know what I'm going to say, because I say this so often, because I freaking am obsessed with being helpful. Nothing lights me up more. In many ways, it's selfish, right? Because I love that feeling of being useful, of service, lit up, using my experience, like I say all the time, using my pain for your purpose. I'm checking I'm recording again. I always have this thought, like about a few minutes in, am I recording? Because I'm still not used to this whole Zoom and video vibe. Okay, so that's why I love talking about manifestation. I'm going to talk about it today, but not for a little while after today's podcast. Behind the scenes, I quote unquote outed myself last week. A bit of a dramatic term, but I am dramatic, so what are you going to do? For being a little bit tired, a little bit drained. And I can't remember exactly what I said, because I can't remember what I said 5 minutes ago, let alone what I said last week. But I think I probably, and I hope I said that I was going to do something about this, because I practice what I preach. You know me, you will know this. And so this last week, obviously it's been a week since I did the last podcast, I have been doing this, and I feel so much better. I didn't feel terrible, but I feel so much better, so much more magnetic, like myself, aligned. And like Abraham Hicks say, it feels good to feel good. It is good to feel good. There's a reason why it feels good, because it is good for you. And I'm going to speak a bit more to this in respect of how it can be helpful for you in a minute. Whenever I say that, in a minute, it reminds me of the Lizzo song, which is it, I think it's called About Time, about damn time. The bit at the start where she says, it's bad bitch o'clock, that just gets me going. Like, I cannot even begin to tell you. It's in the remix version. Absolutely, I'm loving it. But the reason that in a minute thing makes me laugh is that she says it in the song, and my daughter says that when her tutor says it, her and her friend just giggle because it reminds them of the song, and that's reminding me of it. And I'm telling you, so maybe you'll do the same. That's how this stuff goes, right? Okay, so yeah, behind the scenes, one, I have spent this last week really extra focusing on getting back into alignment, refilling my cup. I was talking about this, a dear friend of mine, Sally, is doing some pro bono coaching for me at the moment as she's prepping to take on paid clients. Hey, Sally, because I know she listens sometimes to this. Loads of love to you all the way in Australia. And They were doing a session on Thursday, which I have actually, speaking to what I'm just talking about at the moment, I've decided to take as my sort of restore and recharge, or we can merge them and say restart day. And one of the things we spoke about in our session on Thursday was I love doing a spa day. It's so aligning for me. It's such a wonderful thing. And I booked one straight on the back of my session with Sally, because we talked about it. And I'm going, I can't remember when it is now. Could be today. No, I think it's next Monday. Anyway, I'm way digressing. But what I want to say is I have got a grip on myself, and I feel so much better. And this is such a powerful thing to do. And I'm going to speak more to it in a moment. The other thing that's kind of related is that I've started a detox today. It's a 7-day one. I do it, some kind of detox, fairly regularly. It works for me. I love the kind of reset that it gives me. The challenge for this podcast is, can I get through these next 20, 25, 30 minutes without my tummy making some really loud sounds? My tummy likes to get involved. And when there's not so much food in it, I don't even know what's going to happen. So pray for me. Mary behind me is she's got my back. You can't see that if you're listening, obviously, in audio, but I have a statue of Mary behind me, so that's what I'm referring to. I also have some lovely peonies, my favorite, and what are those other ones called? I can't remember the name of them now. They're really pretty flowers, a little bit like daisies, but not daisies. I've just seen the name, I can't remember. Anyway, for the benefit of those who are only listening. Okay. Oh, two things actually before I get into it. One is I'm going to choose us a quote, a page from Love Notes. This is something that I love to do at the moment. And I can't even tell you how much it blows my mind, the pertinence of the stuff that comes up for me and for you guys. It's just, it humbles me every single time. So I love doing this. I'm going to pick a quote for you listening, and hopefully it will resonate with you. Okay, let me see what comes up. Are you ready? I'm going to read both pages. The first is the simple, let me love you. The second, it is not that I fail to give when you are not surrendered, only that you fail to receive, are unable to perceive. It's not that I fail to give when you are not surrendered, only that you fail to receive, are unable to perceive. And just quickly, this is speaking to the fact that life loves you, the universe loves you. We live in this benevolent universe. It's always giving, it's always responding, it's always saying yes. It can't bring to us what we are not an energetic match to. And so I say this a lot. If you're not getting what you want, it's either because you're not a match and that's your thing to focus on, to work on, or it's because your soul, your higher self is guiding you to something that's an even better match to your desires, or it's not divine timing yet. The second two parts of that equation are not your business. The first part is the only part that's your business, which is the business of feeling as good as you can, as often as you can, and when you don't, not beating up on yourself because of that, for that fact. Seems like a trick. The price we have to pay to get the stuff we want is to feel good. Seems like a trick. It's not. This is the way the universe is set up. So please, when you're not getting what you want, don't think, oh, why is the universe messing with me? Why am I not loved? Why am I not this beloved being? You are. You know this deep down. I'm here to remind you of this. I will keep reminding you until you get it, until you know it for yourself fully on every level. It's never the universe that is holding out. Sometimes there is a divine, well, there's always a divine timing thing, and it might not be divine timing o'clock yet, but it's never that you can't have what you want. So make sure that you are the energetic match. Focus yourself here. Okay, before I get into it, really hope that's helpful. But some of you will know I adore my course, Manifesting Miracles. so much again, because I get to speak to you about manifestation. I get to teach you about the laws of the universe. I get to help you help yourself to start to step into the life of your dreams. I'm committed to doing this in my life, one, because it feels good and I want to live my best life and know that I've showed up as the best version of myself and been this biggest source and force of love and light that I can on the planet. But also, I want to be the one that is this guide for you. And Manifesting Miracles, apart from this podcast and my membership and obviously Love Notes, is this key way that I can support you more fully. So July 5th, this is my shameless plug. I start the next round. It's the 6th time I've taught this beloved content of Manifesting Miracles virtual. It's 7 p.m. UK time every Tuesday for 4 weeks. It will not be a big group. I only charge £100 per person to join it. And then I do follow-ups every sort of few months that is so cheap to join and will keep you on track that you can join once you've gone through the Manifesting Miracles course. I've had 2 students now that have done it more than once because they adore the energy of it and understand the benefit that those energetic shifts make. If you are thinking about joining, DM me on Instagram, email me via the website, get in touch. We can chat about it, or you can book your space. I would love you to join. You won't regret it. If you are ready to step into actually embodying this stuff and therefore benefiting from it versus just understanding it as a concept in a cerebral way in your head, intellectually, this course will help you and I will give you heaps of support. That's my promise to you. Anyway, enough of that. On to this, episode 57, the last one for now, on manifesting. I'm just going to share 2 tips today. Now, I've been listening a lot to a guy called Ed Milet. He is someone who's new to me. I've sort of seen him before, been on the periphery, but never really delved into his work, but absolutely been loving what I've been hearing and seeing from him. And a concept that he's spoken to that's really resonated with me is he said he loves people who are both humble and confident. And I will humbly and confidently put myself in that camp. So I can confidently say, these things that I'm teaching you, many of the realizations that I've come to, that I share on this podcast, that I share on Instagram, that I share through the emails and the Facebook Lives in my membership, that I share in Manifesting Miracles. Like, I have studied this stuff in great detail, in great depth for coming up to probably 20 years now. You guys will know I am obsessive and I am obsessed with this topic. And so I can confidently say, there are things and approaches and ideas that I will teach you that I haven't heard anyone else speak to. I'm not saying no one else is or will, but I haven't heard it personally. And I have immersed myself in this material. And both of the things that I'm going to talk about today fall under that umbrella, actually. The second, not so much, but my spin on it is something that you won't hear elsewhere. So some of you will know that my journey has been a long and absolutely at times arduous one to get to this point. I was very caught up in my mind, in the trap of the mind, the traps of it. My mind, I'm a very deep thinker. I'm incredibly analytical. It's not easy for me to not get all bogged down in it, which I was for many years on many topics. But through the mindfulness practice, through my dedication to wanting to tune into that light within, wanting to help you, through my ayahuasca journeys, through studying A Course in Miracles, through fasting, through my reading, all these different things. And in this space, in this place that's allowed Love Notes to be channeled through me. And hopefully you can feel just how pure the love and the energy of the words in that book are. And the reason I'm saying this stuff is I want you to know that what I'm sharing with you is freaking helpful. It will help you to transcend beyond the level of the mind and no longer be bogged down in it and trapped by it. Okay, I'm getting a bit too deep probably, so I'm not going to talk more on that. But I want to say the point is that I am confident in my ability, but I am humble as in respect of what I'm doing here, because I don't want to be in that ego. Not helpful. Okay, and when I say ego, I mean the mind with a lack of awareness. Okay, I want to transcend that and stay in that space as often as I can, because I know that that is the energetic space and place to allow magic and miracles to ensue. I don't want less than that in my life, and I don't want less than that for you in your life. If that's what you want, I am here for it. Okay, so the first thing, I spoke last week about being tired and a bit overwhelmed and drained. I mentioned it again today. And two people with whom I've interacted in the last week have said to me that they were either tired or had too much on. Okay, so similar to what I was saying. And the realization that I had a little while ago that was clear and simple and powerful, which tends to be the nature of these messages that come from our higher selves, from the divine. They break through in this perhaps subtle but simple and yet powerful manner, is that when I am tired, when you are tired, when anybody is tired, you can't at that same point be aligned. And those of you who are my Manifesting Miracles students will know, perhaps even if you're not, you'll have heard me say this because I say it all the time, alignment trumps everything. And also, everything you want lies on the other side of you feeling happy, feeling good, being aligned. And so, of course, being tired or overwhelmed is not conducive to you being magnetic to the stuff of your dreams, to your desires. So this is really massive. This is really key to get if you're someone who wants to consciously manifest. You can't be consciously manifesting the stuff that you want if you are at that point tired, overwhelmed, stretched, drained, and so on and so forth. It's just not going to work. And when you understand this, you realize it's not worth it. Okay, so some of you will know I have worked a lot in my time with children, and so I have interacted a lot, therefore, with the parents of those children. And one of the things I do in the initial consultation with a parent is I ask about the child's schedule. And the reason I ask about their schedule is so that I can figure out how much stimulation this child has going on in their life, and are they experiencing too much stimulation, which guess what they generally are, to be conducive to their mental well-being. If they are experiencing too much stimulation, I know we need to fix this in order to fix the issue of them being angry or anxious or in a low mood or can't sleep or whatever. Just as you have to fix what you're eating and how much you're moving if you want to change yourself, your health and the look and how energetic your body is, you need to change the thoughts you're having and the amount of stimulation that you are experiencing if you want to fix things in terms of your mental well-being. And very commonly parents will say, oh yeah, but they love all these things. They love ballet and swimming and basketball and brownies. Don't know why I went in on so many B's there. I'm slightly disappointed that I stuck the swimming in. And I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe they do love all these things. But one, if they tell you they love vaping when they're 8, you're going to go along with it. And two, if they love all these things, yet they are telling you that they just want to die, does it make sense to continue doing all these things? My goodness, no, it's freaking insane. It's the same as, does it make sense to live in this most gorgeous home with an amazing shiny car in the driveway and the best clothes if you feel like crap on the inside because you are working like crazy to do a job that you can't stand to pay for this stuff? It makes no sense. We all have some of this in us because we are all susceptible to, if not massively caught up in, if not to some degree caught up in, the mind. And the mind is freaking crazy. It has this insatiable appetite for more, for stuff, to keep up, for things. But you will never be satiated when you're caught up in it. I put a post relating to this on Instagram this morning before I put a stupid post of me singing and dancing to Harry Styles in the car, and it took me ages to try and line up the music with me singing on the reel, and I thought I did it and I still didn't do it. Never mind. But it's the same thing I'm speaking to here. What is the point in going to the party, in doing the event, in having the new client, in going away for the weekend, that on your Instagram looks really cool, really amazing? Your friends are going to be getting FOMO based on this BS experience. What is the point in having all that if on the inside you feel like crap? There's no point. And what you are blocking for yourself is the alignment. And what we don't realize, and what the mind doesn't realize, is from alignment, there's that stuff and more. But here's the deal. You can attempt and achieve and acquire, attempt to achieve, to acquire all of the trappings that the mind loves. And it's not wrong to like these material, these physical things. It is why we're here in this physical experience. Without the alignment, it might look the same on Instagram, but it does not feel the same on the inside when you do it from the inside first, from a space and a place of alignment. So one of the things I love to say is you can climb mountains with the mind alone. But if you want to move mountains, you want to get into alignment. There's a vast difference between the two. So think about, become conscious, what you're doing, why you're doing it. Yeah, you might love those 10 things that you've been asked to do, but if you do those 10 things, you're not going to be at alignment, you're not going to feel good, and you're not going to enjoy any of them. It's that old adage of quality versus quantity. The mind is a quantity beast. More is its narrative, is its vernacular. The soul is more focused on quality, the depth of the experience, being present, really immersing yourself and enjoying and getting pleasure from that experience. Again, to the eye, particularly to the untrained eye, there's no difference between going to that party in a fancy dress and being aligned, and going to the party in a fancy dress and not being aligned. But the not being aligned only takes you so far, for one, and it exhausts you, and it just doesn't feel as good. So what I'm here to say is this tweak of alignment first and prioritizing alignment. You're not giving up on anything other than feeling tired and drained and exhausted and out of alignment. All the stuff you want, whether it's to look a certain way, to have a certain amount of money, to have a lover in your life, to have a certain job, to go certain places, whatever it is, it already exists in vibrational reality. And when you get into alignment, you are becoming an energetic match to that. And therefore, you are allowing that into your experience. It's not like what is lined up for you is this second-rate stuff that you can't have, on the back of you saying no to the things that the mind's telling you, come have this thing that you need, because you're not going to get what you really want. I don't know if that makes sense, but to attempt to simplify it, when you are tired, drained, overwhelmed, you are not in alignment, and getting into alignment allows you, affords you to bring in everything that you desire. There is no trick here. It is the mind that tricks you. It's the mind that tricks you into staying small, into, I can't remember the quote, but when I first started the last round of Manifesting Miracles, I read this great quote from, can't remember the name of the book now. I'll post it on Instagram, or I'll post it in the show notes. But he talks about the paltry tinsel of the physical world versus the riches of the divine. That's what I'm speaking to here. And it's not either or. It's not come into this spiritual woo-woo world of alignment and then you can't have cool stuff. You know me, you know I really like cool stuff. But not to the extent that I will allow it to take me out of alignment, and not more than I love my connection with the divine. Everything flows from that anyway, so why would I step out of that connection? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I want to keep things simple because that's most helpful, but sometimes I know I inadvertently complicate. So hopefully I didn't do too much of that. Second thing, in Manifesting Miracles, in week, not sure, week 2 or 3, I teach the immutable, which just means unchangeable, spiritual laws of the universe. Okay, these are things that, because they are immutable, because they're unchangeable, you can rely on them. One of them, don't know why I did like 2, like a peace sign with my fingers when I said 1. That's more appropriate. One of them that I speak to, it's one of them I speak to the most, is law of correspondence. Law of correspondence states essentially, as within, so without. Okay, when I teach children this, what I say is life is like a big mirror, keeping it simple. It reflects back to you externally how you feel on the inside. Okay, but I want to give a slightly different take on this topic. It is true, this is a truth, law of correspondence, as within, so without. So if you want things to change in your external world, change things, shift things first on the inside. It must follow suit. It always follows suit when you shift on the inside. When you change, others change. When you change, your world changes, etc. Now, you can also flip this. In other words, when you make external changes, it can affect inner changes. So say, for example, let's take your body as an example. You start to affirm things to yourself that feel good relative to how you feel about your body, your health, and so on and so forth. This kickstarts you going on a healthy eating regime, exercising more, taking more care of yourself, and so on and so forth. So you start with the words, with the language, with the mindset, and then the external world begins to change. You could say you like really hated your nose or the size of your boobs, like most young girls nowadays, whatever it is. And obviously I'm not recommending this. I'm not saying against or pro. I'm just giving this as an example. So you go and you get an operation on your nose. Okay. And then you feel better about yourself. That could kickstart the inner stuff. So because there's this mingling and this effect both ways, there's a saying for that, and I can't remember what it is. I wish I could, because it's a cool term. Then change in the external will change the internal. Okay, but this is the thing that I really want you to get, and this is the thing that you won't hear many people talking about, but it is mentioned a little bit in some way in A Course in Miracles. It's really the inner, the energetic, that is where your power is. Okay, so the external might kickstart the internal, and the internal definitely affects the external, but it's the inner stuff that is where the power is. Okay, so a lot of people get confused, and I've definitely been one of them, between someone like Tony Robbins would preach, would espouse, would speak to, like, break your state, like go for a run, get up, put some music on, dance, and that physical motion, that movement of the body, that change of environment or whatever, will cause you to get this momentum and to start on a path of like a trajectory of your success. This is effective. Obviously, he's uber successful and has helped, I guess, millions of people across the planet with this kind of methodology. It works. Someone like Abraham Hicks would speak more to talk yourself into it before you take the action. And people get confused, like, well, which should I do? Ultimately, both processes are doing the same thing. They are both ultimately affecting this inner shift. But one is starting on the inside and the other is starting on the outside. But the key is that energetic, that inner shift. One of the things I'm obsessed with is how more than 99.9% of every atom is empty space. Everything is made of atoms. And the analogy I use a lot is like the physical world is like this tip of the iceberg. It's a teensy part of the equation. The non-physical is the rest of the mass, the body of the iceberg. And so the breaking state, the going for a run, is the tip of the iceberg that then affects and impacts the rest. Whereas when you start with the mindset, with the energetic shift, that's the rest of the iceberg that then you start to see on the tip, which is the physical. So ultimately, are both doing the same thing. It's just you have a different starting point, but don't miss the point here. Like in A Course in Miracles, I'm not sure I'm going to explain this very well because it's a while since I've read this concept, and that text obviously is uber complicated and deep and mind-blowing, which is the point of it. But they sort of say, if you have an illness, ultimately, we have the capacity to overcome that with the mind, with our energy, with alignment. But if you don't believe in that, then use the medicine, because that's what you're going to need to rely on at that point, and neither is wrong. If you're in a space where you can wholly and fully believe, I don't need the medicine, I can heal my body, then great, go with that. But what that would state is ultimately what the medicine is starting is this chain reaction on the inside. But it's, as I'm saying this, I feel like I need to say, oh, here comes Susie. She took her time to join today. So what I feel the need to say, do you want to say hello, Susie? I don't know if you can hear her purring, bless her little cotton socks, is that you can affect change. And I've said this already, but I want to say it in a slightly different way. You can affect change by being purely physical, purely action oriented, purely what, oh my goodness, Joe Dispenza, I forgot his name then, purely what Joe Dispenza would call matter to matter. But it tends to be tiring. It's not as effective. You don't get as far when you purely rely on this. It does work to some degree because we live in this physical world. But the thing I want you to get is it's just the tip of the iceberg. And so what I see a lot of in the sort of world of manifesting and coaches teaching this stuff is actually they're not manifesting in to quite the degree that they think they are. They're doing they're teaching it, they know it, and they're doing some of the steps, but that is causing the inner work versus the other way around. So it's not what I would strictly think of as consciously manifesting, as lining up with the energy, as understanding. So they maybe work, that then creates this momentum, and a physical shift happens that then affects the inner. This is not what I am teaching. This is not what I'm preaching. I am teaching, I am preaching, I am speaking to making those inner shifts first even aligned action. Gets confusing because it's not no action. Can be sort of kind of sometimes, but typically it isn't, because typically when you're aligned, you want to take some action, you are inspired, you want to get out there. Sometimes that action might be resting, but very commonly it is an action, if that makes any sense. Okay, I don't know if I've managed to explain this stuff clearly enough. Let me know, because it would be helpful. Do you want me to go over it in a bit more detail? Do you want me to be clearer? Do you totally get it? Have you got any questions that come up on the back of it? You guys help me with your questions to give answers, to hopefully tap into some clarity. Like I say, because of all this stuff I've done, because of my powerful desire to help you, these realizations, these light bulb moments come through to me. And if you can begin to grasp them, they will help you enormously. Right, Susie's just given me the loveliest cuddle, and she's just nice and warm and purring, which is so sweet. Okay, guys, I really hope that you found that helpful. If you're thinking about manifesting miracles and you're listening or watching this in real time, there's time to join. I don't know when the next one will be, actually. Not sure. I will do another one. I'm not going to create scarcity mindset and tell you, you must join this. Otherwise, I'm not going to do another one, because I will. But what I will say is this group will be smaller and more intimate than the upcoming ones. So it's a great chance if you prefer to be in a smaller group. I always give loads of attention no matter what, but obviously that's easier when the group is smaller. Okay, thank you for watching or listening. What did I say last week for washing? I think I mixed watching and listening together. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. I really appreciate you taking the time to consume this content. If you didn't, I'd have no reason to do it. Neither would Susie. There you go. Susie's just, oh, well, I'm popping a little head up. And I'll be back next week for episode 58. Have an awesome rest of your day. And in the meantime, sending you heaps of love. Happy manifesting, by the way.